president issued an executive order. Hey, we need to stop taking taxpayer money and paying for luxury hotels for illegal immigrants, which makes no sense. Like, obviously, people do not want their tax dollars going to fund high-end hotels for illegals, and yet they were still doing that, even as late as last week. And so, we went in there and we're like, hey, but this is in violation of the presidential executive order. It needs to stop. And this is, I just want to point out, this is a very important thing because the president is the elected representative of the people. So it's representing the will of the people. And if the bureaucracy is fighting the will of the people and preventing the president from implementing what the people want, then what we live in is a bureaucracy and not a democracy.
No.
It's more than just insider trading. Like the insider trading stuff, like the stock portfolio stuff is quite trackable, but it's a lot more than insider trading.
The way they're acquiring wealth.
Correct.
And what other methods?
I mean, this is really going to get me assassinated. It's like I'm not lengthening my lifespan by explaining this stuff, to say the least. I mean, I was supposed to go back to DC. How am I going to survive? This is going to kill me for sure. It's like I actually have to be careful that I don't push too hard on the corruption stuff because it's going to get me killed. It's like I was actually thinking about that on the plane flight over here. It's like if I push too hard on the corruption stuff, people get desperate.
I think Elon did a very good speech maybe he was in with Trump, and he was saying how bureaucracy is not democracy, and he is, I think he is generally trying to do the right thing in a number of areas. But what was amusing was then I saw a Lad Bible post, which is like one of the sort of wokey channels in the UK on Instagram, and they were trying to say that that Bitcoin was anti-democratic, and then I commented and said, well, it's and it was Channel 4, which is a massively left-wing channel, and I said, well, it's funny how left-wing channels basically accuse freedom-loving things that would take down bureaucracy. Government paper and deep state is anti-democratic. Bureaucracy is not democracy. Is the control of the population and media by unelected officials and money movers whose currency is no longer backed by anything since they took off the gold standard, as we've talked before. Funny this came from Channel 4, basically smear them with what they smear us with. So it's
absolutely. And Channel 4 are owned by the government. They're a state mouthpiece, just like the BBC, and they're anti-democracy and pro-bureaucracy, as you correctly pointed out.
Yeah, and it ended up being the top comment. So on a left-wing post, it's now the top comment. So they did a poll. So it was like yes or no, and actually, surprisingly, loads of people were saying that it was anti-democracy. 50. It was 50-50. Now it's 44-56. Thanks. But then immediately under the poll, you see my comments. It's quite funny.
Excellent. Well, that was a key point that Musk made when all these parasitical politicians are saying we must protect our democracy. What they mean is protect our bureaucracy, which is the most important thing to them. They all have their hands in the till. They're all robbing the public blind, and that's just what politicians do. But I think the nature of the problem is the whole nature of government, that they're spending people are spending money that they don't earn on people that they don't know. It can't possibly work. The whole concept of the state and government cannot possibly work in its present form, which is why I'm convinced that the whole project is going to fail, because it can only fail with the systems that are in place at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna try and do a number of things. Some things that maybe we can't see that they're planning on doing, but they're definitely ruffling feathers. And I guess all of this stuff, what does it actually mean for the markets? And it's clearly that we are falling at the moment. And where could we go? I mean, and actually, we've just had GDP come in at minus 0.3 or 3% for this quarter, which has only happened in 2022 recently and 2020. And we know those were the two crashes. So that's one thing to bear in mind. In terms of the actual main market, I mean, we showed it before, looking at the 200 on the daily, which we're at the moment. Where could it go after that? You're looking at weekly, and then you're looking at monthly, and that's basically the two levels where you start adding really heavy, especially after crossover and cross back up and break our favorite two moving averages, which is the 209 period moving average. But please don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and join our Discord chat room linked in the description so you can see these plays and get in these opportunities when we do.
In the modern world, great leaders resolve their conflicts with words.
As for me, I like the stock.
Order filled.